Hi guys, today I'm just gonna do this video about what is going on in Bolivia, about the coup that is killing our native people in Cochabamba in Bolivia, and they burn our flag. So that's why it's a lot of things to talk about as the elections, as this regime or dictatorship or whatever they call it. Uh, those far right media or supremacist white classes that they've been governing all the countries. And it was interesting that they accused Evo Morales as like fraud, electoral fraud, and this is insane because I always think that in my other videos in this channel, I always been saying those computers it's being manipulated with manipulated those computers in either side to this group or to this group. So the best way that we can see a real democracy, we can really count people's vote, is by manuals, by hand, with every parish should have someone to count those votes with some witnesses like UN, United Nations. So it is the only way without computers. If we really want to see an election, democratic elections, but the people's vote, count the people's vote. If we see the election in United States, I think it's a fraud because they don't count the United States citizen vote. It's decided by the Electoral College vote. As we see 2000, Bill Clinton with his vice president Al Gore won at the elections, but they decided George Bush to become president. What if some military command and comes to talk to Al Gore and says, you know what, you gotta resign and you don't have to become president. So how do we call that? It's a coup. But it didn't happen in the United States because there is the other elite that elects the president that they've been electing. Same thing in Mexico. Lopez Obrador, he won 3 times. Enrique Peña Nieto stole the elections. Vicente Fox stole the elections. And the other, Felipe Calderon too, stole the election 3 times. And the States of the Americas organizations, they didn't say anything. They didn't even bother to go in Mexico to find out if there is a fraud. And we see in Honduras too. In Honduras, there is a military coup. Like 10 years ago, they throw Celaya. And we see what happens in Guatemala too. There was a fraud elections in Guatemala. There were just like ballots that already been crossed and they counted. And the last time too in Colombia, Ivan Duque, he won in elections by making copies of the ballots. Because we see in Colombia, the Electoral Supreme Court, they didn't print enough ballots to vote, so they make a copy of it. How do we call this? It isn't fraud elections, but the Organization of the Americas, they didn't start any investigations, or that we see in other countries too, in Peru, in Chile. There's been fraud and there's been corruption too. They accusing Morales of fraud, corruptions. In United States, there's corruptions going on too. In Mexico, Central America, South America, there is corruption in our society, in our home. So, I mean, what happened in Bolivia is a racist act. Just because we have to be clear and we have to understand, Evo Morales without going to the college, but he has been working with hard working class people. He did the best for his country, and he have a record that he did a better job than those neoliberalism or those degree college president that being in Central America, South America. And there's those people that they know about economic, they know about social, political views in each side, either left or right or whatever. But they've been seeing Evo Morales with the right, with a good standard as a president of Bolivia. And the other thing too, I've been saying to this channel that all the flags that we see in each country represents the European colonial, racist, economic and political people that they still doing government. The United States represents the 13th colony flag. Canada, Mexico, Central America, South America, they represent all this. I see it today in Bolivia. Those flags that belongs to those elites, belongs to those ex-colonials. And they've been burning the Huipala flag, the Andinos flag, which has been in this continent for years, for centuries. So that's why, as we see this flag here, this is the flag of the continent, of the Americas, that represents the ideas of the real American people. So, and now, as we see this woman now that he says he's in with European roots or with the European heritage, which is false. If you see his face, I think he looks very much like me. And just because he uses some chemical on her hair and looks like blonde or looks like really European. But no, you can see his hair, black hair, and his face is fucking. He's sorry, but other piece of this stupid, racist, traitor, betrayed face with this BS woman. Did you guys see a video of her having sex with someone in her video? Do you think represents the Bolivian people? No, doesn't represent the Bolivian women. So that's why I'm doing this video. I hope you can share these ideas that any act of military against any president, of forcing any president to resign, is a coup, it's a military. And now we're seeing like dozens of people have been killed. So stay strong to my real American people, stay strong to my relatives, all in this continent. We will succeed, we will see the change we want, but we must stop all this fraud and corruptions, and we must make a social evolution, which is coming on the way. The wave of new ideas is coming under this flag. Thank you guys, and share this video.